Good afternoon and a happy new year to England, to Deborah and Mike Scholes. Hi, welcome to Air Sports News.
Thank you. Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year to you too.
I've been reading your story, reading about this adventure. It's absolutely fascinating. I find all long distance balloon flights fascinating. But first of all, tell our audience who you are and what you are attempting to do.
Well, I'm Mike Scholes. I started ballooning in 91, 92. Went on to do passenger ballooning, set some British duration records with hot air balloons. And then in the end of 07, I suddenly lost most of my sight and they took away my medical certificate. So I couldn't fly as pilot in command anymore, but I still enjoy flying. I subsequently met Deborah, and she took to ballooning like a duck to water. Absolutely loves it, and she is now the pilot and I am now the crew. So over to you, Debbie.
Yeah, absolutely. 10 years ago now, started ballooning. I now have my commercial license. Recently, my gas balloon license. So yeah, we're excited.
And you've been training with the famous Eimers over in Germany with your gas balloon license?
Yep. Yes. We did a recent test flight in G Zulu Oscar, and that went well. So we're just waiting for the certificates, and it's actually a hybrid balloon. So it will then go back to Cameron's factory. It will have a cone put on the bottom of it. It will be packed away, and then it will be ready for our big flight.
So let's check my pronunciation. Is it called a rosier balloon? Is that correct?
It is.
Yeah,
yes.
That's it.
Yes, it's amazing. It's a great technology. I mean, most people are familiar with hot air balloons. Some people know about gas ballooning, especially because of the Gordon Bennett one, and of course the America's Challenge, but not many people are familiar with these hybrids, and this is what is generally used for the round the world attempts and has been used a few times for the transatlantic as well. Tell us about the hybrid.
So the rosiers have been used for the round the world and the long distance flying. This is a hybrid with a difference in that it is a standalone gas balloon as well as a rosier. So normally a rosier is used and that's it. This balloon, the cone can be taken off, a burner is attached, and it becomes a rosier. It's a gas balloon, it has a burner added, it becomes a rosier. So that's the difference. Normally rosiers do not have the gas capability.
Fascinating. And it's a transatlantic attempt, of course, going from west to east with the trade winds from Canada, not too far from where I am. I'm in Montreal now. Where are you going to be attempting to take off from?
We're going from Sussex, New Brunswick, which is about 200 miles inland from Halifax. So we're reassured by that because it gives us, Deborah, a chance to fly the balloon first, feel familiar with it, and just in case, heaven forbid, there's anything wrong or a sudden change in the weather, we've got some land to go down onto as opposed to going in the drink.
Right, excellent. And that 200 miles makes all the difference.
It's also a coincidence that we live in Sussex, England. So a friend of ours, David Hempelman Adams, he flew a balloon from there once across the Atlantic, and basically a lot of the arrangements have just been reenacted to help our launch. So why reinvent the wheel when somebody's done it before us?
It really is one of the last great adventures, I think. Long distance ballooning is like something that would fill your spog. It's incredible.
We love it.
Yes. And I saw in one interview, Deborah, you have a great idea of hopefully landing in Gruyere in Switzerland.
I would love to. That would be nice.
Yeah.
What an amazing place. That was the launch field for the Gordon Bennett race a few years ago. Really beautiful, fascinating place.
Chateau Day is beautiful too. We've flown there. So.
Gruyere has less cable cars, so it's easier to get into.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, and it has fantastic cheese.
So tell me, let me visualize this balloon. I know what a gas balloon looks like, and I can visualize the gas balloon with the regulator and the basket there. Now, what is different? What do you do different? How does it look different?
So once it looks like a large, it's twice the size of the 1000 gas balloons. So it is exactly the same almost, in that it's just bigger, and then it has a cone attached that comes down to the burner frame. The burner frame has the burner attached to it, so that goes on, that's added on, and it then is a rosier. So it is just, the difference is in the material. It's a gas suitable material for hydrogen and helium. So
it's not netted, is it? It's not like the French style.
No. It's like the GB1000, which is Cameron designed and built balloon. It was just an idea. We wanted a rosier balloon. Rosiers aren't reused. We'd been gas ballooning and really enjoyed it, and just thought, well, why can't we have a large gas balloon so that we can actually use it afterwards?
You've got an incredible list of achievements and competitions and wins under your belt. You've got a great competitive spirit. Tell me a little bit about some of the flights and some of the ones that mean the most to you that you've done so far.
Well, the first really long achievement I had was flying in the annual Great British Long Jump ballooning competition, which is October every year, and you have to fly as far as you can within the British Isles, non-stop, and it's the straight line distance that's recorded. And my first one was going from Wales to just east of Luton Airport, north of London. Not a huge distance by some standards, but 128 miles, non-stop, in days before modern communications were any good and things like that. And when I landed and went to see the farmer to say, where am I? And he told me it was Welling, and he said, where have you come from? I said, Wales. And he said, oh, normally they just come from down the road.
Fantastic.
But other flights, Debbie picked up on doing long distance flying fairly early on in her training, didn't you?
Yeah. We've done some lovely flights. We've been out along the south coast. So we flew out approximately 5 miles, and then flew along the coast over the Isle of Wight, and came ashore at Sandbanks and landed in Devon. That was from Eastbourne. So that was the first flight along the south coast. Then we did Selkirk down to Woburn. That was my longest flight, which was 264 miles. That took a long time, several hours. We were, I think 75 miles an hour was our top speed on that one. So that was my favourite to date.
But you also enjoyed going over the English Channel.
Yeah, we've been over the Channel, and I've been very, very lucky having sort of trained and been around Mike, obviously, Mike's connections. I've been fortunate enough to get some real top-notch teaching. So,
but Deborah also enjoyed flying over the Alps in Switzerland, and she did that when she was learning.
Yes,
which is most unusual for trainee balloon pilots to go over the mountains or over the Channel.
Yes,
and so, but your history, you've always had a history of achievements and challenges. From
competition,
riding race horses when she was a little person to now doing marathons and now ballooning.
You've done a lot of marathons, Debbie, haven't you, so far?
I have, yes. I've done, well, probably done as many marathons in training as I did actual races. I was, and a couple of ultra distances as well. I've run 2 marathons. And,
Mike, for anybody in aviation, losing the sight is one of possibly the worst things that can happen. And here you are, still flying, still in the air, still competing, keeping going.
Assistant competitor. The competitor's on my right.
That's not true.
But no, it's very challenging. one thing you have to try and adapt when the sight disappears.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've done is to tell whether the balloon is descending is by wetting my wrist and holding my arm overboard. And if it cools, then I know we're going down.
Yeah.
And you learn to adapt and do things. It's just when somebody says, "Oh, we're going into this field," and I can't tell how high we are, or oh, you know, we're going to come over these trees. Well, that's just a dark area to me.
Right.
So I have to trust.
Yes. Is there a big community of partially sighted balloon pilots and balloon flyers, Mike?
I haven't met any others.
Yeah.
I've met some disabled.
Yeah.
And I've spoken with a chap who he was a pilot in inverted commas on a microlight going from England to Australia, Miles Hilton Barber.
Right.
But he may well have done all the flying, but it would have been officially classed as a passenger for him,
Right.
because the CAA won't issue any licenses.
Right. Understood.
Unfortunately.
Deborah, this would be the first female pilot in command to cross the Atlantic. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. A female has been across before, but not as pilot in command. So, yes, we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
It's a massive adventure, though, isn't it? It's a big.
It is.
It's not to be taken lightly. It's a big.
No, not to be taken lightly. We've probably can honestly say a lifetime of moving towards this.
Yeah.
And we've got all the right people behind us. We've got the best equipment. As I say, the best people supporting us. In as far as they can. We're still looking for a main sponsor.
Right.
We are self-funding. We've had lots of support from lots of companies that have given us discounts and provided equipment and support and training. So, yeah.
At the moment, you know, if you hear of anybody who would like to get involved with financially in return for promotion, then we welcome it. Don't know whether your viewers and listeners are aware that we have a website, which is www.transatlanticballoonchallenge.com. And we're also on the Twit machine, Balloon the Pond.
Yes.
And Instagram, similar. So people can follow us. When we fly, we're going to be taking a couple of trackers with us.
Right.
So people will be able to follow online, seeing where we are.
Yes.
And our progress, heights and speed and all that sort of stuff.
And
a radio ham in Germany has asked us to fly his shortwave beacon.
Yes.
And so radio ham people, will issue a code so people can follow that way.
And our forecast,
obviously. And also it would help our forecaster, who is experienced at doing this, very experienced, and he's in Belgium.
Right.
And he'll be able to say exactly where we are rather than calling us up every time he wants to do the next forecast. He'll be able to say, "Oh, climb to this height," or "Go down to this height."
Yes.
So it will be open to the public, a bit like Gordon Bennett, where people could track the balloons.
Yes.
This time they'll be able to see where we're aiming for, and we hope mainland Europe.
Well, we hope to be covering it as well. For people who are not familiar with ballooning too much, you might not have seen Gordon Bennett. The meteorological and the team on the ground are very important to this.
They're the most important. Yeah, absolutely the most important.
In effect, we've said that
he's the captain. Really.
That's what Debbie said. Our weather forecast will be the captain, as it were, and Debbie will be the obedient pilot who says up or down. And the other thing is, because of my lack of sight, we decided early on, and in conjunction with trainers at the Royal Navy, where we went for survival training, that we're going to use a basket rather than a capsule.
Right.
Because if we have to go in the sea, the chances of me getting out of a capsule through a little hatch at the top are remote.
Yes.
As we found out when we did our training, Debbie went one way and I went the other. So we're going to be tied together along with the life raft and the grab bag.
Should we be in that situation?
We don't intend
Hopefully
to be.
not, but
Incredible. There's not many great adventures left in aviation, is there? This is definitely one of them. What do your family make of it?
They're very supportive, I have to say.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are a few questions coming out now, but no, they're totally supportive.
Once we've done this, our plan is to do longer distance flights over Europe.
Yes.
Because this balloon could go on for weeks if it's filled with hydrogen.
Yes.
And the other thought, something years and years ago when I could see properly, I did a 2-month Greyhound trip around America and Canada. And an idea that I've got, and I think Debbie would really enjoy it, would be to go from Vancouver Island across Canada in our balloon.
Yes.
And I think that would be a remarkable and fascinating challenge.
Indeed, it would.
Let's
when
do
are
this.
you aiming for? When are you? What kind of dates are you looking at the moment? Have you got set dates? Or?
Yeah, we're pretty sure of when we're going to. Obviously, it's completely dependent on the meteorologist, what he says. But we've got a good idea of when we would like it to be, and that is June, July this year. Obviously, with circumstances at the moment, that there are no definites. Lots going on. So if we have to delay until next year, obviously we will, but we are hoping and moving towards this year.
Sorry, go on, Mike, carry on.
Another reason for choosing June, i.e. midsummer, apart from historically it's a good time to cross the Atlantic, the nights are at their shortest. And we have to carry fuel, propane, to keep which heats the air in the cone to keep the lifting gas cell the same temperature. If the nights are shorter, we need less fuel, so with less weight, so we can then go higher if necessary.
Yes.
Whereas if we were to go in the autumn when you've lost about 6 hours daylight, that's 6 hours less warming from the sun and more fuel, and therefore we wouldn't be able to go so high, which would give us less directional change ability.
What do you know at the moment about the wind speeds and the flight levels? What are you expecting?
Really down to you, isn't it? But
our intention is to stay low. We have the capability of going higher, but we're not wanting to go up into the jet stream. We will sit under that. So it will take a little bit longer than maybe some of the previous flights. But
we did look at some previous flights. For example, when Hempelman Adams went from Newfoundland, and the Chrysler race in '92 from Bangor. Friend of ours was in that. The average speed he had was just over 20 knots, about 24 knots, something like that.
Yes.
So we're not anticipating whizzing along at high speed.
Yes.
But if we do, then that's great. But we're planning to be up there a maximum of 10 days. That's the amount of food we'll take.
Right.
But we think it'll probably be about 5 days.
And am I correct in thinking there's only been 11 crossings so far? Is that right?
I think
sounds about right.
It sounds about. I think it's a few more than that. I thought it was 16.
We know that a Spanish one went the opposite way with the trade winds from one of the Spanish islands to the Caribbean. But then there were the ones in the race. There was the first one in 78.
Yes.
You're probably about right. Somebody said to us the other day that more people have been to the International Space Station than have flown in a balloon across the Atlantic.
Yes. Yes.
So, but we've applied to Guinness World Records so that see if they will accept Debbie being the first lady to captain a balloon across, and myself to be the first registered blind person to crew.
Yes.
So we should hear from them in a couple of months or so, because things are a bit slower with COVID.
Yeah, of course. What have you got left to do before the flight? Is everything in place already, logistically, or do you have still work?
Well, we have our flight director, Kevin Stass, has kept us in line, and we are pretty much there. We know where we're going to source everything, and yeah, we're pretty much there. I think it's to find the tidying up at the end, and
we're just having a rethink of the basket, aren't we?
Yeah.
In what way? What are you thinking, Mike? How are you rethinking the basket?
Well, for example, it was sheer coincidence at Debbie's salon. I came across a postal tube, and I suddenly thought, instead of having blocks underneath our bunk, we could put 2-litre water bottles in the postal tubes, cut them down to make the pillars for the bench on which we sleep.
Yes.
And suddenly we've got loads more storage space.
Yeah, it's quite a compact space to be in for that amount of time. So it's quite important that everything fits and it works.
Yes.
Internally, the basket is 1.2 meters by about 1.75.
Is that the same as a gas balloon basket, or is that different?
Bit bigger, would you say?
Little bit bigger.
Yeah.
It's your normal sort of 6-8 person commercial flight sized basket.
Yeah.
And for your electronics, your batteries, are you on solar? How are you keeping power?
We'll have solar panels, we have batteries, and we have all our equipment actually transponder. And
yes.
The transponder is the normal ones that high altitude aircraft will use.
Yes.
So that people can see us from wherever. It's one that other aircraft can see us with,
as well,
as opposed to just air traffic control.
Right.
And then what we're looking for, we've just been advised about a high frequency radio. Originally they used to be big and clumsy, and when we were in Germany, the radio ham chap there has said, oh, there's this unit that's really small, so we're going to look at that one.
Yes.
Because then we can talk to people around the world.
Yes.
And also be out in the middle of the Atlantic, and if Gander, the air traffic control in northeast Canada, wants to talk to us, they could do. Whereas VHF is line of sight.
Right.
And the curvature gets in the way. The other thing is, by meeting other balloonists, somebody came up with a brilliant suggestion. Instead of us moving the solar panels during flight if the balloon rotates, have 3 of them together as a triangle hanging underneath.
Oh, yes.
So they will always get the sun.
Yes.
We hadn't thought of that. It's amazing talking to the Gordon Bennett competitors.
Yes. Who were you speaking to?
There was people, when we went to the test flight, it was the IMAs came up with that.
Yes. They have some
But
great.
Willie has done 1,200 gas balloon flights.
Yes.
And Benny is trying hard to catch up.
Yeah. Well, he's got the world record, hasn't he, for time?
Yeah.
98 hours, something like this.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about coverage? Are you going to have plenty of GoPros in the basket?
We are.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were actually looking at buying some more, so but we have very little experience at those.
Yes. Contact GoPro UK, they should supply them.
Yes, that's
That
it.
would be nice, please.
Yeah. Debbie bought a GoPro, it's quite funny, and we did a cross-London flight
Yes.
out of Battersea Park, right down the Thames, and she had this GoPro on a stick, and she said, I've turned it on, you film it. Well, I didn't know which side the camera was, so she got 15 minutes of my face.
Fantastic. But there's a great documentary to be made here, isn't there? You know,
we've got a lot of footage of each of the stages, right from the fabric being cut. Yeah, we've ensured that we've just got a record of everything that's happened.
I mean, we are actually re-looking for somebody to edit the pictures and the films.
Right.
Because the person lined up has unfortunately become unwell. He's been ordered to rest for a year.
Right.
And so he probably won't be available. So there are plenty of people around, but this chap was award-winning.
Yes.
So we will be looking for that.
Well,
but when we come to Canada,
yes,
we're really grateful if we get hold of somebody there who can film us getting it ready and launching.
Yes, absolutely.
And we've got Sussex, New Brunswick has an annual balloon fiesta in September, the Atlantic Balloon Festival, and the area's got lots of balloonists, so I'm sure there'll be plenty of people willing to help.
Yes. Well, hopefully COVID will have calmed down a little bit, and maybe Air Sports News might send me there as a reporter on the event.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Get out of the apartment.
That's it. No, we're feeling optimistic because the new COVID drug vaccination is starting today, and our local hospital got the first supply.
All right.
So how far down the pecking order we are. Probably
No
about
way.
3 months or so. But
Is that the Medina one, is it? Is that the...
no.
The Oxford.
Oh, the
one.
Oxford one. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're really hopeful for the poor people who are in the at-risk category.
Yes.
Yeah. But in the meantime, we keep getting fit, doing training,
Yes.
Yeah.
running, dancing,
every day.
exercising.
Yes.
And began Christmas Day with a 10K run.
A 10K run on Christmas Day.
Yep.
Yeah. I've had a 5K walk this morning. I need to up my game a little bit, don't I?
No, you're fine.
That's fine.
People that
I mean,
are watching
going
that, sorry, go on, Mike. Sorry.
So going back to the ballooning,
Yes.
we feel that everything will come together. We've had flight director Kevin Stass has been fantastic, and coordinating it with all the air traffic services that we could possibly bump into.
Right.
Nav Canada has offered to do us a corridor that's three-dimensional, like a rectangular box,
Yes.
to keep other aircraft out.
Fantastic.
So, I mean, starting over in Canada, people have been so fantastic, so helpful
Yes.
that, having things like that is really, really useful to, especially, and it's comforting to know they're on our side.
And what about in Europe? Have you got permissions through the different European countries? Because you don't know where you're going to be, do you?
No, we
no.
don't, and that is something we can't control. We can only we look to Kevin to sort that out.
Yes.
But he's been
He
talking
has
to
a lot
lots of them,
of
hasn't he?
experience, and yeah, it
Yes.
will be good.
He helped on the round the world flights for Steve Fossett, and
Yes.
I think he did some with Branson.
And the FAI, have you got any support from the FAI on this?
Well, it's a little bit difficult because obviously I can't claim women's records because I have a male with me.
Right.
So the only category I would be in would be the all round or the overall the
General category.
the general category. So that's the category, and those records are quite that's quite that would be quite something to reach for. So from my perspective, my main aim is to fly the balloon across the Atlantic safely
Yes.
and land the other side. Anything else would be wonderful, but that's my objective.
And any thoughts about future Gordon Bennett competitions with your guys?
Oh, yes, that's definitely, yes.
Have to find somebody who could lend us a balloon of the correct size, 1,050 cubic meters.
Oh, of course, yours wouldn't be the right size, would it?
Ours is 2,200 in round figures.
Yes, yes.
We'll maybe swap.
Yeah, well, lend somebody ours in exchange for theirs.
Willie, I'm sure Willie's got one or two spare ones tucked away.
Oh, he's got a few kicking about in his barn.
What about getting yours over to Canada? That must be quite a logistical cost as well.
Well, fingers crossed.
We are quite organised. We have we've very kindly had Virgin offer to do that for us, which is lovely. Obviously, circumstances are slightly different now, but it's not something that is insurmountable. It's shipping is going to be fairly straightforward now because we have the pallets, everything's been measured, we have everything weighed, everything itemised. That's quite organised. So I hopefully don't see that being too much of a problem. We can always put it on a ship if need be.
Good.
And in fact, last year when we were hoping to do it, but the price of helium went through the roof, the company in Scotland said that they would put helium pallets into a shipping container and send them to Canada for us.
Wow.
Okay, if need
But
be.
that
So-
was rather expensive.
Yes.
But there's always a way,
Yes.
and there's always somebody willing to help. It's a matter of finding them.
Yes. Well, what a great adventure and a great challenge you've got lined up for you. It's fascinating to speak to you both and hear a bit about it. Is there any final shout outs you would like to give to any members of the team that we've not mentioned yet?
Oh,
Well,
yes.
I think there's Yuli in Sussex, who's been very helpful.
And Bert
There's
Podell,
Bert Podell
who is our launch master.
in
Kevin.
America.
Kevin, obviously. Robin Batchelor, who will be helping.
Yeah, doing commentary.
And then we have other balloonists.
They've volunteered to retrieve us
Yeah,
wherever we land.
Pauline and
Malcolm
in
Pauline
Ireland.
Baker, she's world record in ballooning. If we land in Ireland, she'll retrieve us.
Yes.
And then we
got European crew. Who we got in Europe?
Oh, various people in Holland and Germany.
Yes.
My long jump crew, Celia Morley, hopefully will assist if we're Europe. She'll be coming to, if she can get away from work, that is.
But I think we should also do thanks to the excellent tuition from Willie Eimers, helping you get your gas license.
Yeah.
And introduce us to flights that are 9 hours upwards.
Yes.
Because it's such a faff getting everything ready that when you're airborne, you might as well have a long flight.
Right.
I used to do passenger flights. You'd spend all the time getting it ready, fly for an hour, land, then you've got to pack it all away.
Yes.
You know, why not carry on?
Keep going.
You know, the gas ballooning does that. You go overnight, take a picnic.
Yes.
And see the fantastic sunrise, or some people can.
Yes.
It's another world. It's absolutely amazing.
Pure adventure. Really,
Yep.
really is. Really is.
Well, the other thing we're planning, we've just got to try and finalise it yet, is the oldest form of airmail is balloon mail.
Right.
Wikipedia talked about a person in America in 1859 organising it, where he'd fly letters before they got posted, and so we're planning to do envelopes like that.
Right.
We've got some designs. It's a matter of getting them printed on the right envelopes, so people would be able to buy those and participate, because they'll be carried with us.
Yeah. And I mean the charity that we were hoping to raise some money for is Blind Veterans UK, who
Yes.
obviously supported Mike when he lost his sight.
Because I used
In
to fly
various
in the
ways.
RAF and the Royal Navy, so I was
You went
eligible.
up in Newcastle, didn't you? Up in the northeast, Mike.
Yeah, I went to university there. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
great place.
Yeah. I was living there for a few years.
Oh, good.
Well, listen, guys, it's been great to catch up with you. Almost out of time. I would love to come back in a few months before the event, and to see how you're coping and how it's progressing. If you would come back to us, we would love that. But it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you all here today. And
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.